We're live. Hold on. Oh, I didn't think about a light. Hold on a minute. I think I have one. I'll be right there. I'm here. There I am. I have to move the car. So hold on a minute. I'm here. I'm going to be driving live for a few minutes. I don't think there's no one here anyway. So here I come. Look out. Ugh. It's like, I feel like Godzilla. Don't laugh while you're trying to move, stupid. Ugh. Okay. Starting to feel like Godzilla in the van. My God. Okay, I gotta move because there's a fire alarm going off or a burglar alarm or whatever alarm is going off, and it's really loud. Right now it stopped again. It stops for like a few minutes and goes off again. So eventually someone's coming, and that'll be fire and cops. So I don't want to really be sitting here in the middle of a live stream. Well, 2 fire trucks and 2 cop cars come running up. So we got to move. Got to move. Sorry. Wait, let me start the car. Hold on. There is never a dull moment in van life. Alright, let's put that. Oh, that one's. It's my touch lamp. A little brighter. Hold on. Oh, because every time I touch it, it changes color. Hold on. What am I going to put this on? A sneaker. Oh, what did I expect from the week we've had? Oh my God. And I can't see who's there, so I'm going to catch up. I only got like a 2-minute ride. I just got to let the engine warm up a minute. Yeah. Reality is a van life. Sometimes you gotta go. Oh. Yeah, the drugstore just closed. That was smart, stupid. Why are they throwing frozen water bottles into the parking lot? Well, this is what happens when you're allowed to get high at work all day. Oh, God. Maybe I should go back for a part-time job, huh? Okay. Let me see if I can read this. Holy crap. Hold on. Hello to everybody. I see your things there. I just gotta let the van warm up. And then I can get the hell out of here. Because I gotta speed a little bit when I first get out. And Millar is bitching he needs an oil change. No, he doesn't get one on the regular schedule now anymore. They put that really high mileage, holy crap, you're a 200,000 mile engine oil in it. And we're almost there. Hold on. Wait, wrong one. Oh, we're getting close. Look at this. I don't know if you could see that. You might be able to. We're at 199, 414 miles. Ah! I'm trying to catch it at 1999999. So that's my goal for this. God, I wish I remembered to take my glasses. I'm stupid. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm doing okay. I'll tell you what happened, and then we'll get into details. How's that? Okay? I'll fill you in on what happened. Went to the doctor, said you gotta take this really nasty medicine because holy shit. We've hit a holy shit moment. in my diagnosis. And that's with the new bone cancer that we found a year and a half ago. It's really bad. And I mean really, holy shit, really bad. So, now, I told you the other day they wanted me to take some really shitty medicine. Well, it just took 4 days to find a pharmacy that actually had the stuff. I just got it. Okay, just got it every day. Oh, it's coming. No, oh, no, they don't got the right one. It wasn't the right amount. So, I spent about 2.5 hours ago, 40 minutes. It was about 5 o'clock when I picked up the medicine, and the guy said, you got to come in. I said, I can't get, he said, you have to come in. So I went inside. We sat down for 40 minutes. Wow. 3 of the top reasons not to take this crap are my 3 biggest issues. I'll get into that in a minute. So those are the top 3. Do not take this if you have this things. The other thing is that there's some pretty bad ones that never go away, ever. The third reason about this medicine is that this is the one that almost killed my mother twice. The first time she took the liquid form of it as a shot, where you only take it once a year, but she was on a very high dosage of it, like double or triple the dosage that normal people take. So the first time she took it, within 8 hours she was dying in the hospital. Her whole body just completely shut down. She was dying. It was killing her. Hold on, I'm pulling out. 6 months later, they said, okay, you can't take the shot, it's too strong. We're gonna give you the pill form. Within 12 hours to 18, we were back in the hospital with the same thing happening. We didn't even have time for an ambulance because the second time she had just recovered from it almost killing her 6 months ago, that we had to throw her into the car. I couldn't even wait for the ambulance to show up. When I got in and he handed me, it's in a plastic sealed bag so that no one can take this by accident. It's the same stuff. So we'll get into that in a little while, but it doesn't look like this is going to be happening. That's why he said to me, that's why he said to me in the office, this is now a last-ditch effort, and this medication is now a right to try for me. I said, because of what happened to my mother. He said, yes, you probably didn't hear that conversation she had before she took it. I said, no, I didn't. I wasn't present for that. I was working while she had this appointment, and she took the shot in the office without me there. So that's what I gotta make this decision. So think about this before I park, okay? Yeah, what would you do? What would you do? And it's not gonna save me. It's not gonna stop the bone cancer in any way. They're just trying to slow it down. That's all it'll do is slow it down. But I think we did enough radiation in the last couple of weeks because I had to go back in for some close-ups. So now I've had 5 doses of full body radiation 5 times in 6 weeks. That's a lot. Plus the contrast. Radioactive liquid in your veins. And the guy is right up my ass. Sorry. Dude, can't read the words first responder on the back of my windshield. Yeah, that means back the fuck off. Oh. Audi. Thank you. Oh, screw you. No, hold on. You're gonna move. Hold on. Not waiting for another light. The hell with that? Oh, you can still see me. Okay. I put you on a towel so you wouldn't slide. I'm trying to go to a really busy parking lot because I got the lights on in the back. So we're almost there. 1 more minute. So let me start off with this. For those of you who haven't been with the channel since the beginning, this channel was officially started in July of 2021 to document the cancers of September 11th first responders. So you have been going through every diagnosis, everything since the very beginning. I'm gonna move over here because there's more light from the thing. Hold on. And there's no one here, so I'm gonna go over here. I don't want to be that alone. So not now, not this weekend anyway. We're here. Thank God. Okay, so let me turn this off. Okay, so the reason why I did this channel, and I do share everything. I come out with every report and you read it with me so that people can experience. A lot of people tell you what it's like to have cancer and go through it, and trying to get out of my seat. And what it's like that way. They go through stuff, but they leave a lot out. You know what I mean? They cut out when the doctor comes in, or you know what I mean? But I wanted people to understand what it's like for someone to hand you a piece of paper that changes your life. You know? Sorry. Oh, I don't need the windshielding. I forgot. I only had to cover my side windows here. Which is going to be this one. Actually, it knew where it was going. I only had to cover one side too. Forgot. It's gonna get dark for a second. I'm gonna move, but I just want people to know what it's like. You know, you gotta go to the doctor and he hands you some shitty piece of paper. And now you're like, holy crap. You know, this was the first time in 8 years that my doctor bugged out. This man, I'm crawling under my curtain. See, you can kind of stand up in here if you're bent in half. I gotta get you set up. Hold on. So, that's what just happened. Oh, Lord have mercy. I'm getting my glasses so I can read. Oh, this is the evil shit. 3 boxes. It's 3 months of it. Hold on, I gotta put the light this way. That one's not bright enough. I gotta kind of point it at me. Hold on. I'm using the wrong light. Okay, there we go. That's not so bad. And I gotta get you in a holder. There we go. I lost my other lights. They went bad. There you are. And where's my... Yeah. My broken iPad. Stupid thing. I didn't even pay it off yet. Ugh. Okay, let me get this up so I start reading comments. But yeah, just to, I don't know, just what it's like. This really sucks. And I didn't really want to do this, but there's so many people who helped us that are so sick. And people keep forgetting. And they forget that the children, grandchildren, and great grandchildren are going to be sick from this. If any first responders or anybody involved with 9/11 for the first 9 months through the 2.5 years, 3 generations of your children are going to get this. So if you had kids before you had cancer, your kids, by the time they're 30, are going to be where we are right now. The exact same thing. That's why my child died. All right, there I am. Going to be where we are right now. Okay, let me turn this off. Okay, I got it now. I'm on. This way I can read the comment section. Now I gotta find a good place to put it. How's that? Not bad for you. Because I put you in the stand and then it overheated so fast, so I don't know if it's because this has a big piece of foam here. And it sits right on the battery. That thing overheats so fast. That's why it was only an hour and a half and we got cut off because the battery got too hot. So I'm just gonna leave you propped up on the pillow for now. I'm gonna read. I'm gonna go back and read real quick. If anybody's being bad. Oh, I see a couple have been bad. YouTube got them. Why so many people? I need a brighter light. There you go. Dummy. Hello, Kim. Hello, Tom and Jackie. I'm trying to read this. Woohoo. Damn. Let's see. Ohio, what's up? We're going to be annoying. Oh. There you go. Okay. Didn't understand. Let's see. Okay. I'm reading. I'm catching up. How many do I have? So why aren't they doing that on their own? I don't know. So I'm catching up. So that's where things stand. All right, I just got caught up. I was trying to read. I'm just scanning through, um, moderating for a little bit here. So, yeah. So, this stuff is really nasty crap. And one of the first reasons is the kidney cancer. Kidney cancer, lung cancer, and it also kills your sugar. So it gives you severe life-threatening hypoglycemia. I said, dude, I'm drinking sugar water like 6 times a day. He says, oh, that's right, I forgot. Number 3. I said, 3 strikes, you're out. He went, I said, okay. You know, he can't officially tell me what to do, but yeah, not good. That's not good. So here it sits. I filled it, so they can't say I didn't. I figured let me at least mull it over a couple of days. But yeah, we had a nice 40-minute conversation about the side effects and the lifelong side effects and the holy crap, no, you can't take that one. So he says, even with the test the way it is, he says, that's a big chance to take. He said, you saw what happened with your mother when she took it. I said, yeah, I know. So I think probably not. I think I'm just going to roll the dice one more time and forget it. That's why I said to him that this is, I said, once again, the untreatable portion of what happened with us. He says, yeah. He says, even though it could be useful to slow it down, he says, then you got to outweigh the risk of actually taking it. So that's that, I think, on that one. So yeah, thank you, Bonnie. How you doing? I just saw your name. What was I saying? So that's kind of that. Hey, Brightside, how's it going? That's good. I'm glad. The freaks are out tonight. I have no idea. I'm trying to read some of these. It keeps catching my eye. So, yeah, I'm trying. I'm sorry about your mom there, Jessica. What a, this stuff is horrible. My, both my parents for 33 years each, you know. Everybody's like, oh, well, how could you still be alive? It's like, are you kidding me? My parents lived for 33 years with cancer. Treatments, no treatments. My mom went one way, my dad went another, said the hell with this, radiation only. My mother tried some surgeries because she had no choice. With her particular cancer, you had to cut it out. Um, and yeah, they went through hell. They went through hell from the age of, they were in their 30s, in their 30s, late 30s. About, well, well, my mother died before she was 70, and my dad had just turned 73. So, yeah, mid 40s, that's when mine finally kicked in, really. But they had issues before that they didn't realize was precancerous conditions. Stuff was just starting. So, back in the day, they had really crappy tests, okay? We're talking the late 70s to mid 80s, even into the 1990s, early 90s, the tests were still crappy. My mother was passing them and she was stage 3, all right? Those tests were bad back in the day. So, oh wow, my mom had cervical cancer. That stuff was crazy. When she went in for her first operation, they were supposed to be in and out in like a half an hour, 45 minutes. 15 minutes in, two of the doctors come running out and said, listen, it's everywhere. I was like, what are you talking about? He said, when we take a picture, sometimes we can only see straight down. We can't see through the organ to see what's under the organ, the backside, especially when stuff is touching, especially in women. And he's like, we're going to be in there 4 to 6 hours. We got to knock her out again. You got to sign this piece of paper now because I got to give her more anesthesia, like within the next 15 minutes. I was like, oh my God. And I said, what happens then if we don't? He said that she's going to come back in 6 months and we do it all over again. I said, no, here, just do it. You know, he was like, I would say, he said, if we had to wait the 6 months to cut it out, he said she probably wouldn't live for any longer than maybe 9 months. I said, so 3 months after you'd have her come back in to cut it out, she'd be dead anyway. He said, pretty much, yeah. I said, just do it now. You know, I know what she would have said. You just do it now or stop. So, no, no more pets in the van. The van's too small and it's too cold in the winter. The summer is one thing, you can stay cool, but it's too hard to really keep the van hot all the time. So, no more pets. Okay, okay, I hear you about the text. Okay, so, yeah, and this stuff, when I opened the bag, there's 3 pages. 1, 2, 3. And these weren't the stuff we were talking about. This is just everything else that can happen to you. And what you can do, can't eat, can't. Yeah. And this wasn't even the bad top 3. This was everything else except for the 3 to 4 worst things that can kill you if you take it, if you have it. And they're not even in the 3 pages. And he's like, you need to Google this for a couple of days. I said, yeah, I need to. Besides what we talked about, just look this up, you know? And I said, yeah, I don't think so. I don't really think that's worth the risk. No, no, not my choice. I can't find a place I can afford. And the places that you can are so disgusting. They're worse than the house I was in. So I should just, if I could have, you know, I'd be better off staying in my house. Even now, 2 years later, right? It's probably wouldn't have been as bad. They're too quick to kick people out of their houses down here when you got with the tornadoes and stuff like that. And they really are. I just met with a man from the VA, and he was working on trying to find something for about almost 10 days. And he came back and he was so happy when he left. He said, I'm so glad I found you. blah, blah, blah. I've been looking for you. You weren't here for a couple of days. I said, no, I bop around. And he's like, oh, he said, no one had your number. So he was so happy. He said, I need your phone number. I need this. I'm gonna find something. Yeah. I was like, okay, go get him. Yeah, he came back 10 days later with his head hanging down like, you were right. I couldn't believe you were right. He said, I'm so sorry. He said, those places that I saw were so disgusting. I couldn't believe they're able to legally let people live there. I said, yeah, what, worse than my house they told me to get out of? Because I had a little bit of mold starting? Are you kidding me? And he started laughing. And that's when I said to the doctor, I said, hell yeah. I said, there's more mold on the trees, the buildings, the sidewalks, the streets, than there was anywhere near close to what was going on in the house. Because if I was still able to kill the smell with the air conditioning, it wasn't that bad. The reason why it smelled that bad is because it's a tin can with mold inside, you know? I'm down in Florida, Jessica. Hi, Dave. I'm catching up on these guys. We're discussing the perks of taking poison, and it's coming up not good. So, I figure if this guy's not trying to be rah rah, no, this shit is great. Nah, don't worry about it. It's not that bad. He's like, he's making these faces, like trying not to say anything, but doing this a lot, like, you know. I was like, all right, I get it. You're not a fan of this particular medication, are you? Absolutely not. So I thought, oh well, oh well. And I didn't even look up any of the lawsuits that are ongoing on this crap. They just had to pay out $30 million to, I think it was less than 2,000 people. That's a lot of money per person. Got a calculator? Do that math. What's $30 million divided by 1,200? Someone do that on your phone. Let me know what that is, because that's what they got. They're also right now in court because they found this crap legally and medically responsible for the first thing happening, that now they know the second bad thing that can happen with this medication is responsible for these 10,000 people. So that's pending. So right now they're playing let's make a deal. They haven't gotten paid yet on the second one, but they're gonna, because the first one set a precedence and was scientifically proven. This did this to those people. I said, oh boy. I said, yeah, maybe not. They're gonna be paying out over a couple $100 million just over two of the side effects that are really bad. So, and life altering stuff too, where you could die from it, and so many people are getting it. And it's mostly started to look like people who had cancer. They're using this for other things, for the bones, but they started using it on cancer because it was working on certain ones, but then the lifelong side effects, that's it. There's no reversing, no going back. You're totally up a creek, and they took your paddle and drilled a hole in your boat. I thought, whoa. I was reading some of that before, and just before I got on, that's why I was a little trying like crap, and then the fire alarm went off, and I was like, no, damn, I gotta move now. So that's what's going on. I used to be up there in Pennsylvania, but I have to be down here for the doctors. And that's the other thing where I was getting to was now I told you guys at one point I will have to move on, keep my primary care, but I now have to move on to the VA. Well, now they're closed, so I can't go there at the moment. I'm in a hurry, and it'd be nice if these people came back because now I need to see these people, and now I can't. So, now only strictly the VA, and I don't know. I'm assuming this one because I just don't know if I gotta be near one that services the Navy and the Air Force. I need to be with doctors who treat at the VA, who treat guys on submarines, aircraft carriers, guys who work with nuclear machinery, and the guys who make the nuclear weapons. Uh, and high risk mission guys who are exposed to a lot of toxic chemicals. They got to put me in one of these groups with those specific handfuls of doctors. Um, who that's all they take care of. I actually had one. I had the lung physician that treats the Air Force pilots because they get cancer from the jet fuel, rocket fuel. Okay, this guy also treated the NASA guys who create the rocket fuel for NASA. So he was just the number one specialist, and that's all he took care of. Those guys from the Navy, from the military, the guys from NASA that work with the rockets and toxic chemicals, and firemen. That's it. Those were his only patients, and he was nice enough to take me. He didn't take my uh, all of my health insurance, but he took the part that paid 80%, and that was enough for him. And then finally, he got so angry that he up and quit. So, and he left 65 of us. Yeah, no, that's what I'm explaining about not being able to go to Pennsylvania. There's no doctors who can treat me up there. Now I'm stuck with the VA. That's why I'm here in Florida in the first place. I couldn't get the treatment in Jersey. They didn't have the expertise in New York. I had to go south to find any doctors. Or California. It was Florida, Texas, or California. That was it. That was it. Even to get my diagnosis. Those are the three states that did all my testing and stuff for 9/11. So it wasn't local doctors, it wasn't local hospitals. They drew the blood and took the samples and had to ship them to places in Florida, two labs in Texas, and the one in LabCorp in California up in Stanford Medical School. They're the number one research center in California. So each one of those places, the one here in Florida, the number one in Texas, and the number one in California. That's it. I may actually have to travel across the state of Florida to the West Coast uh, to go see the doctors over there because I think that's more where the Navy is stationed. And that would be more guys like me. That's where the group of people I would fit in with the doctors I need. Because the doctors here, they don't have the education. They have no idea what to do. So now I have to go to the VA to get me the doctors who've seen this before and know how to treat it. which is kind of sucky because they take forever to do anything. So I have to make appointments. So as soon as they open up again, I was going to take a ride over there on Monday morning and see if there was a sign up or a phone number. Um, and I'm already registered with them. I just have to walk in and then ask for an appointment. And then they give me to a doctor. He figures out who I'm going to need. He looks at what's wrong, and then he makes me appointments with the appropriate doctors. It's going to be at least 3. But at least if I can get one in there, that'll be good. No, it's 2 kinds of breast cancer. I'm reading Jessica's. 2 kinds of breast cancer, lung cancer. There's like 5 different kinds inside my lungs at the same time. Mesothelioma, regular fibrosis. We have emphysema, asthma, and an incurable pneumonia that will never go away. That's from the concrete dust. Um, I have kidney cancer, liver cancer, bone cancer, blood cancer, in the jaw, down the throat, and it just entered into just a couple of, I'd say 6 months ago, really kicked in the colon cancer. That's what I've been dealing with now. We just got that diagnosis the last week of July, and I just had everything confirmed was what I was going back for. Um, I was going back for the confirmation on what's wrong with the stomach. My doctor got 4 people to come in on the consultations of the x-rays, the blood test, and everything. And they're like, yeah. So I said, okay. He said, and oh, by the way, that scan you just had in the bones, sit down. You're not going anywhere. And he walked over and he shut the door. And I was like, and he always leaves the doors open. It's like a little family kind of thing. And, yeah. And then he gave me the bad news about the bone cancer. We found it a year and a half ago, and it just, it went nuts. It went crazy, crazy in a year and a half. So, and that's what we're dealing with, getting sucker punched by the bone scan. So, it's been a little hard, but I knew it was coming, of course. I knew what to expect from my other friends and the other first responders dying, and just people who worked in my town, who worked with everybody, just town employees, everybody did what they could. Even like Department of Public Works, people who work for Parks and Recreation, if they took a check from the town hall or the state, they came on their own. And just watching them get sick, that was hard. But watching each other, we've pretty much know where it's going from the first guys who have already passed on. There's about 5,000 already gone that we pretty much know where it's heading. So, plus getting caught in the ash cloud, it went in our bodies, not just what physically got us on the outside. It went in us. We digested and ate it. So that's really what did everybody in, was when the buildings collapsed. No, I don't talk politics on here. Because I was a first responder, that's how I got cancer. Yeah. I got caught in the ash cloud when the buildings collapsed. That's what this channel is about. 25 years later, whammo. This stuff took forever. It took like 15 years before we even got cancer. The mesothelioma takes 18 to 21 years before it develops. And that's pretty much mine. It was 19 years in when we found my lung cancer started. That was only 2017. It's only been 10 years since it all started. It took till 2017. It started in like 2016 to 2017. But it really started kicking in about 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Oh, thank you. Yeah. So, what else is going on with everybody else? It's been pretty quiet here. Someone's whistling outside. It's a lively parking lot. So, that's what's happening. Wait, let me move this. The train's going past. I don't know if you can hear all that outside. So, I gotta get my iced tea. Water. Water. I'm dying. At least it cooled off. It's been nice. Poor Kim is freezing. Remind me when I'm complaining. About 8 weeks from now. Or maybe, yeah, about 8 weeks. I'm going to be crying. Freezing. I was looking up the place I got my seat cover from to see if they had it out yet in the flyer online, and they're not advertising it, so I might just go by and see if they're there, because they sold out last year really quick, and for $10 that thing is excellent. But yeah, I can't wait. I know I'll be crying, but this sweating is just too hot. But I'm glad it cooled off. The year before, it was 95 degrees at Halloween. And it's supposed to be colder than usual here by almost 20 degrees. That's why I'm like, I gotta find another heater pad quickly. I need to find the one I have. That thing, I gotta move, sorry. That one works so good, and it takes such little electricity. I'm praying they have this again, the same one. I gotta look it up, see if I left the tag on it, I think. Oh, I don't know if the name is on it anywhere. It's probably not. Yeah, they didn't. Mm. Oh, thank you. Who is that? John and Bonnie. Where are you that it's 2 o'clock in the morning? You're like me, flipping through. It's like, oh, who's this? What do you do? I wish I had better lighting. Sorry. Oh, that's... Now it looks different on the tablet. Okay, that's a little bit better, I think. Yeah. Okay. I don't know how long this is going to last. Is that on high? Is that going to change color? It might. I'm checking to see if it's changing. Oh, there it goes. All right, it's settled back down. Okay. Hey, Scotland, what's up? Scotland, UK. Are they merging as one country now? Have they kissed and made up for good since, Robin Hood days and Braveheart? Always made me laugh. I said, everybody's yelling about the Middle East. I was like, do you know how long England, Ireland, and Scotland have been fighting? I have relatives that don't talk to each other still. Like their whole lives. I was like, dude, give it up. You're in America, let it go. I thought it was. I was trying to pay attention on the juggling of stuff with the Brexit, and I was like, where is England going? Wait, what are they doing? But they never cover that on the news here. It's hard to find. I know there's been I always feel bad for the people in Ireland. They get a little crazy over there sometimes. That's why half my relatives came this way. That's how my aunt and uncle met. My aunt was English and my uncle was from Ireland. She said, we had to move to America. I said, why? She said, because it was against the law for us to get married. I said, what do you mean it was against the law for you to get married? She goes, oh, you don't know. I was like, yeah, but that was like the 1940s, the 1950s. She goes, that didn't matter. It was still, she goes, over there, it's still like the 1600s and it'll never change. Oh, they made me laugh. Yeah, single but not looking because I'm dying. No dating. I was trying to read some of these other ones, but yeah. And oh yeah, the good thing that happened. Let me see if I could show you. It might be in the dark too much. The solar panel. Ooh, can you see it? Let's see if we can see that. Hey, there it goes. Okay. Now this is good. I can see on the tablet. What a delay on the tablet. It's like having a dump button. um, Somehow I went up. I went down. Yeah, I've always wanted to go over there. I always wanted to see those the white cliffs of Dover. My mom's family is Welsh. Um, and I always wanted to go there. Always looks so beautiful. I always watch all the movies, Saving Grace, and oh, what is my favorite? My other one with the three women. I'll think about it. The British movies. I always watch the English ladies' British movies. Um, oh, what is the other one? Saving Grace. And there's another one with the women. I forget. Richard used to love it. He got such a kick out of it. He loved all those British movies. I got him hooked on those. But I love Saving Grace. Um, but yeah, it always looks like such a nice place to go. It always looks so beautiful in the movies. If you want to see a good movie about Wales, watch Saving Grace. It'll make you want to go. If I go there, I'm never leaving. I don't care if it rains 350 days of the year over there. It only doesn't rain for like a couple of weeks, right? I'm used to that here. Oh, my flags. I had to wear them this weekend. I broke them out especially for the weekend. But yeah. What is the name? That's going to drive me nuts until I remember the name of it. And I'll remember that. Another one at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'll wake up. That's it. Um, yeah, what we were talking about. I keep looking at this thing over here, trying to read them. Okay, I think I caught up on everything. Oh, it's like busy everywhere tonight. Airplanes, cars. We were mobbed for the last couple of days, and all of a sudden, everybody just disappeared. The whole crowd. There was like nobody here today. It's like everybody vanished. So it could have been that everybody is leaving. Um, a lot of people come down just for the summer and they go back up north for the winter because they like their snow. So they just come down here for the summer season. We have reverse snowbirds. And then we got the people who come down the minute it starts snowing, they come back to Florida. So we're kind of in the middle of that transition of everyone leaving finally. And then more people will start coming in another, geez, 3 more weeks. We'll get the rush of Thanksgiving visitors. And then the winter breakers. Oh Lord, the children are coming back. College students are about to invade Florida again. The winter breaks, geez. I'm not looking forward to those. Yeah. Wait, what? New York used to be good. It's an interesting place. Ah, New York is probably, I would say, from what I've seen and know people who've been there a lot, they compare London to New York. That's the best equivalent I can tell you, with a mishmash of every kind of person, because everybody in the world, it's an international hub city. So London and New York are pretty much same kind of mix of people. Same mix of people. It's funny too. A lot of India restaurants. Chinese. We have a lot of British and Irish uh, authentic places in New York, which I used to love to go to. It's not just like a franchise Irish restaurant, you know. There's a couple of those around, but they try to accommodate people coming back and forth. But it's a city. If you like interesting stores and stuff, or people watching. Yeah, it depends on where you're going with the rats. I don't ever suggest to anyone visiting New York that you take the subway. Not even when it was safe. That's pretty horrible. The subway's disgusting. It smells awful. It's filthy. It's dirty. There's rats the size of cats. Not little guys, not like hamster size or even guinea pig size. We're talking rats the size of a cat. I forget the name of those guys. Let's trying to see what actually you could see in here. My lights are not functioning correctly. Oh, there's better little videos of it. I'll make a better one because you're not gonna that's my ceiling. Hiding up someone else's mess. Let's see. That's the front. Right now it's a disaster. I'll make a better video. Let's see if we can put this here. No, that was better there. No, now it's funny again. My other light broke. Thank you. I tried to make the bed look like a couch, which is normally what it looks like. There's pillows kind of all the way around it, like a little love seat sofa. Oh, thank you very much. That's very nice. Yeah, I would probably move out of the city. That would be a better idea. It's not a good place to be. I'll tell you that after 9/11. Yeah, no, I'd rather be in the country. It's too much. Too much chaos, war in a city. But they handled it. Let me tell you, I was very proud. We had no issues. We had no looting, no rioting, no nothing, nothing, nothing. Not one call. Not one call. You've been going through all that crap for 9 months. The first 9 months were ridiculous. The first year and a half was insane. And all throughout that, for the first year and a half, until everything kind of went back to normal as we could, I was very proud of them. Both New York and New Jersey, people could have snapped and went nuts, and they didn't. And they didn't. And we were very lucky and very grateful that everybody just stayed calm and, didn't freak out. Oh, they're going that way. Yeah, it was. Yeah, the Statue of Liberty is really, that sucker is huge. I went right after they cleaned her up. I hadn't been there since I was a little girl. So I had went there and I forget why. Oh, a friend of my mother's came from Australia and I took her there to go see that and a bunch of other things. And we went to the Empire State Building, did the touristy stuff. The only thing we didn't do, which was funny, was was to go to the trade towers. It was such a long ride up and changing elevators. It takes a long time to get to the top, up to that, the windows on the world up there, and the restaurant that she didn't want to spend like 45 minutes just trying to get to the top of the World Trade Towers. So we settled on the Statue of Liberty in the Empire State Building. But yeah, it's really pretty. It's pretty. Everybody hates it though, but it is pretty. And they were fixing it when before Hurricane Sandy, the lights were on, everything was fixed because the arm was actually breaking off at the elbow. Um, and they got her fixed and the lights were all done. They redid her crown and all that stuff on the inside because we couldn't let no one go up anymore. They had to stop that. And then they fixed it all. And then Superstorm Sandy came and destroyed it again. Her arm almost fell off during that superstorm. Well, it was a hurricane. Let's say it was a Category 6 hurricane hit New Jersey. I worked that too. 2.5 years on September 11th attack, and I worked 2.5 straight years with Hurricane Sandy. It was 2 years before the last shelter closed and the last people. That's what I did. I ran shelters and organized stuff like that. We did it ourselves without FEMA. We took care of our own people, and FEMA came in later on, towards the end. And but yeah, yeah, I know. If you sneeze wrong, you're gonna piss someone off. I'm reading the comments. Yeah, that's a 50-50 shot at who to trust. It depends on who's in. Or it depends on who wins that time. I don't know. At this point, I'm kind of not trusting anyone lately. Not after they just shut down like this. Hey, hello to everybody who just came in. We actually said that, you know, after Superstorm Sandy between New York and what happened with New York and New Jersey, we were a disaster. It was over a year before we can even get down into the Hudson River to get that water out. It was madness. It was over a year before those people could get in to even start digging out the houses and ripping out what was wrong. And that was crazy. But looking at what happened up in the Carolinas with all that flooding, those people are still living in tents. We lived in tents for 2.5 years. I lived in a shelter with the people. My apartment was fine, but I stayed. I opened it and I closed it. So I only went to my apartment maybe once a week to change clothes. And that was it. Pick up a couple of things, throw them in a duffel bag, and I stay in the shelter with the people. Because most of the people from your town, people I've known my whole life, since I was a kid, people I went to high school with. So we just had a great big 8-month long sleepover, And then other people in the town took in either friends. If you were friends in high school, you took someone in. If it was a friend or a relative or whatever, everybody took someone into their home. We shut down 3 of the shelters so we could get the kids back to school. So we emptied out 3 schools. And what was the other building we were using? Oh, we were using our community center, and we finally got that emptied out. So our town did very, very well, very well. A lot of the people in the town are related. There are a lot of Southerners from Florida to Virginia, all those states in between right there on the East Coast, all made up the people in my town. So they all kind of knew each other, and a lot of family and, intermarriages and stuff. So they took care of everybody. Everybody took someone in. It was the nicest thing I've ever seen anybody do. And we cleared those shelters out. It took us 9 months to get people rearranged and get clothes and things. That was insane. Flooded the tunnels. We were cut off. New York was just completely cut off. Completely cut off. And after going through September 11th, we called September 11th dress rehearsal for Superstorm Sandy. Let me tell you, geez. And we had a lot of good equipment that we ended up getting because of that. We realized we didn't have near enough rescue vehicles and, you know, high risk rescue stuff and gear, and the stuff we got was amazing. And had we not had those things during Superstorm Sandy coming through, I don't know what we would have did after. I really don't. We had recovery vehicles, all kinds of mini buses, and it was amazing. So as much as what horribleness happened on September 11th, we ended up with the equipment we needed to survive Superstorm Sandy and get through that. We didn't have a lot of deaths. We were very good. Everybody in New Jersey listened and listened well. We didn't have a lot of accidental deaths and drownings and stuff. So it was rough. It was real rough. No electric, no nothing. Phone lines down. It was just like what happened with September 11th. No phone, no that. We had nothing. Nothing. Our communication died again. And we had to go back to walkie-talkies and CB radios, and so we were well prepared. you know, we say like 9/11 was one day. It was 2.5 years cleaning up the mess. But Superstorm Sandy, that was ongoing for like 6 months of just nonstop. The first 3 weeks we were just rescuing people. You know, it was crazy, very very difficult for the people there. Like here, it's easier for people to deal with the hurricanes and the disasters because they live through it all the time. Those people living in New York, people down South Jersey at the Jersey Shore on the beach, yeah, they get flooded out, but nothing like what happened, you know? And to be up in the inner city of New Jersey, right across from Manhattan, that don't happen. Again, no no rioting, no fire, nothing. A couple of small stupid like little stores, a mom and pop shop who sell coffee and, donuts and breakfast where you go in the morning on your way to work kind of stores got hit, but people were just stealing food. They weren't they were running out of food because the grocery stores were flooded. We at that point were not prepared. We were in a bad way for the first week because we couldn't bring the supplies in ahead of time of the storm. You have to wait. You can't prepare everything. So you got to leave 3/4 of your supplies out of the zone and then hope they can get it to you. That's the biggest issue when you have flooding and mudslides and fire and hurricanes. You can't bring it all there and prepare yourself that way. So that was something else. But we got our workout. Those guys earned their money. I'll tell you that. And then some. But yeah, people kept it together. They really did. It was. We were grateful that we didn't have to deal with that. Yeah, those things are ridiculous. And one of the good things was that most of the people are from the South and been dealing with that mostly their whole life. I think we're about to lose this. Yeah, we're about to lose our light. Okay, well, at least we got this far this time, right? Where are we now? Let me see if I can fix that. No, I think that light's going dead. Hold on. Let me see if I can find another one. This one. That's why I had to change parking lots because you can't really. How long will? Not sure how long that one's gonna last. For a little while at least. This little guy's going dead. Okay. There we go. Okay. Um. Oh, 9/11. Um. The final for that day was the roughly almost 4,000 people just on that day. And so far, there's In New York only, it, their last count was 50,000 dead of cancers and other things going wrong because of the exposure to the chemicals and stuff. But yeah, about 4,000 people died that day. There was 2,800, almost 3,000 just in New York alone. Plus the two airplanes in the one in Pennsylvania. I mean, not Pennsylvania. The cornfield. Why can't I remember? The plane that hit the field that the people took down. So, just in New York alone, about 3,000. The other 1,000 were outside. Yeah, I was talking with a friend the other day and said, didn't we just graduate high school? I'm about to be 60. What the hell happened? I was like, but I don't feel it. It's like, how did this happen? How the hell did I just get old? I missed it. Yeah. The trick is not to feel it. Stop counting your birthdays. I was like, I had to ask the doctor. I said, wait, how old am I now? Like that. I said, it says on my thing, right? And he just looked at me. I said, dude, I stopped counting at 45. That's it. I said, I need to know how old I am. I look at my driver's license. I pretend it doesn't happen. Right? Yeah, yeah. Happy birthday. Give me my cake and shut up. One candle only. It's like, dude, we're gonna start a fire. When you need a fire extinguisher for your birthday cake, that's when you stop putting that many candles on. It becomes a fire hazard. Turn that off. No, thank you. One little one right in the middle. That's it. Sorry, this is moving. I gotta figure out a better stand. Oh, who knows? But yeah. Me either. Me either. Time went so fast, let me tell you. I still can't believe I've been here 10 years this year. You know, that it's been that long. I've been running around in circles getting diagnoses for the last 8 years. It's like I can't believe that much time's gone by. Right, Kim? Oh, man. It's like, what happened? I remember my grandmother telling me when I was about to leave, I think it was my junior year in high school, and she said to me, she goes, it must have been hitting her that her birthday had went and something was creeping up on her, you know. And she said, she goes, you know what? She goes, you better, like, enjoy everything now. I said, okay. She goes, you want to do something? Do it. Just do it. I was like, okay. So she said, because let me tell you something. You're going to blink. She said, you're going to blink your eyes, and when you open them, you're going to be 50. So it must have been closing in on her 50th birthday. She goes, and it's gone. And it's gone. And you're 50. And you're like, what happened? How did this happen? Ooh, someone's upset. Someone's having a little argument. Oh, they're leaving. Okay. Someone got upset. Must have had a fight with the girlfriend. She's not showing up or something. She went with her girlfriends. Sounds like somebody got stood up. And that's the funny thing about sitting in the car, is that you hear everybody. Conversations coming back and forth, in and out. So if you like listening to other people's conversations, you hear a lot of stuff. People don't know you're there. So if you're really quiet, you hear some crazy conversations, I'll tell you that. Oh boy. There's a couple of times I wish I was recording. Where I'd probably get sued if they realized it was them and they saw it. Yeah, I used to be in a trailer park. You got one of those real nice HOA committees? Let me tell you, mine's lucky I didn't give them some nice air holes. I could have made some nice ventilation. But, oh. But, yeah, the worst. I wonder if they could, well, I don't know with all the rights and stuff. Now you can just videotape anybody, anywhere, anytime. You used to have permission. You have to get somebody to sign a release, you know? Even walking, like when they're out walking through the crowds, videotaping what's going on outside. You would have to have every single person's permission to be able to put that on the internet. I don't know what the hell, how stuff has changed. And I guess the minute they put a camera on everybody's phone, that went out the window. But, yeah, you see some interesting stuff. Especially if you're hanging out at Walmart. Everybody always fights after food shopping. Maybe it's the tension of deciding what you want to eat. I don't know what makes people fight at the grocery store so much. They walk in all happy and they come out and they're screaming and yelling. Get in the car. Or maybe it was how much stuff cost. I don't know. Yeah, Walmart's getting crazy. Very, very crazy. Sorry, keeps falling. I'm trying to hold it. No, please. I keep getting these notifications for that The aliens are coming thing. It's like, you've been telling us that for 50 years. We've been telling you for about 50 years the aliens are coming, and now you're all going to agree and say, yeah, okay, you're right. It's like, yeah, okay, big deal. Nobody even cares anymore. Normally, that would freak everyone in the world out. No one cares. Go ahead, bring it on. There's enough stupid crap going on here that they don't care. E.T. or the Klingons are on their way. We were laughing about that like freaking 8 years ago. They tried to throw that in as a distraction. Look what we found. Yeah, so what? We already knew about it. Oh, I went into Sprouts uh, store. It's a organic farmer's market store. My Lord. I thought they were expensive before. Jeez. Louise. A little container like that big and that big around. It had salsa in it. One tomato chopped up with a little bit of onion, a little bit of cilantro, and like 3 pieces of an avocado in it. That was it. $7.99. $8 for one tomato, a half a onion, a little bit of cilantro. I couldn't believe it. Could not believe it. I was like, that store is crazy expensive. I couldn't find nothing in there cheap. Nothing. I kind of walked in, walked around, looked around. I was like, yeah, okay, bye. It's like, I'll go out of my way. I was hoping. I was just looking for, something different. And I said, well, maybe I'll grab some guacamole or something, or, anything. Forget it. Like $8.99 for guacamole. I was like, people, come on. Don't give me that. I don't want to hear it. You know damn well those avocados are not organically grown. I know exactly where you're getting them from. Don't lie. Like, come on. There's only 3 places in the world where we get avocados from. And I don't think any of those places grow them organically. No way. Absolutely no way. Oh, I know. They're just being trolls. Yeah, I know. It must be a boring night. There's no riots in the streets to watch tonight. Everybody must have went home early today. Maybe it's a full moon. They're not. They only come from 3 different countries. That's it. That's it. You're eating in Canada the same avocados we're eating here. That only comes from Mexico. I forget the other 2 places. Chile and I forget the other country. That's it. That's it. No one else grows that stuff. That's their thing. So they make money. Nobody else is allowed to grow avocados. They grow a lot of avocados in people's backyards here. That's the one thing they do besides lemon trees, lime trees, orange trees. They grow avocado trees in the backyard. That's the only thing I didn't plant. I was about to when 2 hurricanes came and destroyed my life. And for the newbies, that's how I ended up in the van. Two hurricanes, Hurricane Ian and Hurricane Nicole. And then there was a tropical storm in between, and that was it. Oh, I think they're shooting rockets off or something. It sounds like it. Wait, where are you? You could probably, let me tell you, with the right light, those trees don't really get that big, I don't think, some of them. And you can find different species of them. But you could probably grow one indoors. You can grow a lemon tree, a lime tree, avocado, roses, and I forget the other thing. My mother was good at that. You can grow them inside. They'll grow indoors in the winter, too. You can just leave them inside. If you got at least a 10-foot ceiling, you should be fine. But they have shorter ones. Yeah, orange trees smell good. I like the lemon and the lime trees. And they're tiny. They're not that big. It's not big, huge, giant lemon tree. No, you get these stubby, it's like a bush. It's like the tallest they really get is like 4 feet tall, maybe five. So you can have them in your house as long as you got a window with light. And you keep a lamp on it, near it, all night long, and it'll continually just get sun. So you could leave a grow light on it. I see my mother work wonders. Yeah, they grow apples here too, but I think it's a little hot for apples in Florida. They probably grow more in the winter here. I'm just reading. I'm catching up on the reading. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, that place was crazy expensive. Wait, oh, we got that light over here. All the lights are dying out. It got very cloudy this afternoon. I had just got done charging everything, and all of a sudden the clouds came over. I thought it was going to rain. It didn't, but it just was very cloudy and windy all afternoon. Yeah, I figured you guys would grow better apples up there. They're more cold weather. That was more New Jersey. Had a lot of apple trees. It's just too hot. They're too delicate. They got that thin skin, and stuff with thin skin doesn't do good down here. That's why they have, I don't know why they don't grow avocados in Florida. Probably because they get destroyed during hurricane season and the rainy season. That's an expensive tree. Yeah, more cold weather like Jersey, apples, peaches. Yeah, they're plums. They have really good plums in Florida. I haven't bought them in a while, but they're actually sweet. Got tired of those nasty ones that were sour. Ugh. Oh, thank you, John. But it's part of part of the job. My family are all first responders in one way or another, and military too. So I grew up on army base housing. I lived there till I was almost 10 years old. And we got cops and firemen and doing what my mom does. She's a government. My mother was a government first responder, so I ended up working with her when she got sick. Tried to help her keep her job, as long as possible when she got cancer the first time, and when I was young. And that was it. I'm like, this is not such a bad job. And all my friends, or, everybody was friends in the town. So, because back in the day, you had to live, if you wanted to be a cop or a fireman, they wanted you to live in the town that you worked so that you would better take care and do your job. You know what I mean? Not necessarily the firemen, but, keep everybody on their toes, And you can keep people in line, and it's better when, you got, say, a husband and wife fighting, okay? And you're working in a town where you don't know any of the people versus living in the town you grew up with your whole life and you know every single person. It's better someone come and say, "Psst, listen, the old guy across the street called the cops, okay? He can hear you guys fighting over there. What's going on?" And you already know the people because you've been friends your whole life. It's like, dude, calm down, and you can de escalate situations from getting out of control a lot easier than if a stranger came in and, you know, it was rough. Those were the better laws. I never agreed with people working in a town they don't live in. I really don't. That's why, like most town halls and mayor's offices and stuff like that are mostly run by people who live in the town, of course, you know. Yeah, we grow a lot of grapes here. That I was surprised about. We used to live upstate New York. They had a lot of grape orchards up there where we were living by the on base housing, or off base housing. But I found a bunch of grape fields driving through the center on all those back roads. And I took across last time I went west to east again. Instead of taking the main highways, I took the secondary roads across. Added about 40 minutes to my trip, and that was it. An extra 45 minutes. I said, yeah, okay. I don't have to take the highway. They do. They take care of the bills. Everything is covered. Once I got all my diagnoses, everything is covered. I have no copay, no nothing. Nothing. I had to get 3 distinct diagnoses for that. And I got them. And then some, and that's all I needed. So the minute I got the first 2, everything kicked in. They said, okay, we got it. And I had to go to very specific places. Only 2 places could make my diagnosis. One of them was here in Florida. It's a rare cancer center. And they said, you can either go here or the one in California. I couldn't even go to the one in Texas. No, I had to go to the one in California up north in Stanford. and it had to be one or the other to make my final diagnosis. So then Florida called California and they did it together. So they said, well, we'll agree to be in on her diagnosis, and we will work with your cancer center in Florida so that she has a backup. So there couldn't be anybody saying, no. So that that woman in California, I thanked her. She gave me her home phone number. She was the head of the place out in California, and yeah, she was really, really nice lady. Helped me a lot, and once she got involved, then everything kicked in. She sent stuff right to the insurance, to the place, to here. She like took over and did everything. She was the most wonderful person I never met in my life, you know. And she went out of her way, and she even got me second opinions on her stuff, just to back up. And it was just backup after backup after backup, and she made sure there was no way around anybody could say that wasn't it. So if it weren't for her and Florida, yeah, it would have been real tough. So that I'm extremely grateful for, and the insurance has been wonderful. Completely, they pre-approved everything. Once I got my diagnosis, I don't have to put a claim. All I have to do is get a referral from the doctor to another thing, and just let them know. And they say yes to everything. Everything. And I mean even putting me in the hospital overnight just for one test. Just in case it runs long. Or whatever they're going to use is going to make me sick. So they've been very good. Once you're there, they've been excellent. Getting there was rough. I went through 2 different insurance companies, and once I switched, when I came to Florida, that was it. The best thing I did, they came in, they took over. They were really nice. Once you got away from New York and New Jersey. So that I was grateful for. That's also why I stayed, too, in the beginning, until I found out I had to stay here or move to California. And I was not moving to Earthquake Central. That place burns down and shakes too much for my liking. I'd rather deal with hurricanes and flooding than earthquakes and half the state burning down. We have that too, but not like they do. Oof. That's too much. We have too many swamps that put the fires out in between this scattered around the state. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that, all the prayers. I do. Oh, it's Dodge minivan. It's the biggest one they make. It's a beast. It's like if you took an F-150 Ford or the Chevy version of that and then just made a van out of the rest. It's got the same engine. It does not have like a what is one? I'm thinking of Sonata, Chrysler Pacifica, not like those minivans. Those ones have like a 4-liter engine in it. It's like it's like putting the engine of a Prius in a minivan. Not one of those. No, this is a big beast of a car. You go off-roading in this minivan with the right stuff on it. They actually make a lift kit, like for the vans, so you could put better shocks. I've seen this car jacked up with really nicely done, too. Looks like one of the old vans, you know. But, yeah, this is a good car. I can't say enough about it. This car takes a beating and keeps going. And this van is not happy. It weighs like 9,000 pounds without nothing in it. So I don't even know what I weigh with all this stuff in the car. I never got on the cat scale, but I have my guys check to make sure I'm not overweighing down the car. Um, but yeah, this car is not happy unless it's doing 75 miles an hour down the highway like a big giant pickup. And I mean the big ones where you need a ladder to get in. Everybody who fixes this car loves it. It's like, no, don't get rid of it. We can keep it going. It's almost done. We've almost replaced half the parts. So the engine's kind of half new. There's another half to be replaced, and that's what I was doing since I got it 4 years ago. Doing one big repair after another, new alternator, I just put a new radiator in because I had to. Someone hit me and cracked it in a parking lot while I was in the store. Um, what else we do? New thermostats, new oil housing unit. That went, and that was a disaster. That just got fixed. So all the big stuff was either fixed before me. The guy who owned it was starting to fix it, and then I think he realized the oil housing unit was going. It was going to need a new radiator. There was a couple of other things. Plus, he made a mess out of the electrical. So, and it was time to turn it in. So he just dumped because he messed with all the buttons, like up here. He had 4 children. So he disabled the locks on the doors. You can't open and close the windows. You can't unlock the doors from back here. I don't know why his children would be opening the doors and jumping out of a minivan while dad's driving, but that was his problem. But now it's mine. So there were reasons why he couldn't turn it in at the dealership, and they explained to me what he had said. He had just put a brand new transmission in, brand new brakes, um, and something else he had done in the engine. And the guy's like, the bad stuff, now all you're down to is, my next thing that's got to get done is the spark plugs. Got to get changed soon. And the one thing that's going to cost, like $600 for a rubber gasket seal that goes underneath the oil housing unit that we replaced. The gasket was still good, so they slapped that one back on. They found one that was in better shape than the one I had, so they threw that in to tide me over, because that's another $500, $600 to replace that. I think it's $400 for the gasket and $200 for the labor. So they were good guys. We're not voting. I don't vote, and we don't talk politics. Oh my God. Goodbye. Let's see. Job. What the hell? But oh, but it's a good car. So if you're looking for a car that's more like a truck, and check out the Grand Caravan. And it's good on gas. It's really good on gas. I mean, excellent on gas. And high-speed driving on the highway, not bad. Long distance, even better on the gas mileage. Holy cow. Oh, okay. This van is 22 and a half feet long. So you got about 2.5 feet in your van compared to what I got in this one. I have an extra 2 feet than the regular minivan, and I'm 2.5 feet shorter than a regular cargo van. So it's as close as I can get. I just wish it was wider. It's long. The length is good. If it was just maybe 8 to 10 inches wider, it would be perfect. Then it would be the size of the inside. But I forget what I pulled up to. Some kind of Ford Transit, and it was a tall one, like a mini Sprinter van. It was skinnier than this thing. I parked side by side. Mine was longer and wider than this thing. It was like a mini Mercedes Sprinter van, but it was a Ford Transit, tall roof. And I'm like, forget it. That thing, it's got these little teeny tiny tires that look like donuts. I don't even know what you put those tires on, but I can't believe it holds the weight of those vans, knowing what people are doing in there. Hello, Robert. But that's a nice van, the Nissans. I like their stuff. Their small cars are good. Oh, I'm sure he loves the transit vans. They're nice. This thing it probably weighs less than this thing does, even with the height. It looks more lightweight. So it must get good gas mileage, you know what I mean? This thing, everything is heavy. The doors are heavy. The doors got to make up most of the weight of this car. They weigh a ton. I even looked at a couple of those. Well, even after I gotten this one, I said, well, now I got this one. Maybe I could use this one to trade up on something else at another used car. I was looking around. I said, all right, now I got this guy. He's in good shape, needs some work, but it still had good book value 5 years ago. And they hold their value, this car really does. And I just worried down. The only reason why I didn't, because I saw two of them. One was gray. It was a longer one. And then they had the shorter transit van where you could stand up, but it was still like 24 feet long or 23 feet, about as long as this one. And all I was getting was standing room. It's just this in the wind. This van rocks like this, where I'm just holding on in a 70-mile-an-hour wind. I would not want to be in the taller one down here. They fall right over. Just driving around, we could have a regular storm. Just our regular thunderstorms with up to 65, 70-mile-an-hour winds just knock them over. And especially if you got cabinets up high and now you're making the top heavy, you have to make sure that all your weight is down low. In the tall vans, you can't put all those cabinets to the ceiling and load them up full of heavy stuff. Clothes, yes. Canned goods and food, nothing heavy up there. Oh, that's not bad. It took me a little while getting used to driving this too. I've been running around eh, in a little Honda Fit and a Kia for so long. But the big vans, they're not that hard to drive. I've driven the big conversion van. Those are, I think, 27 feet long. I love driving that. I just don't like towing anything behind. We lost a trailer one time coming down here, and all of a sudden, this trailer someone was towing passed us by and almost hit us, cut us off, and then pulled over to the side of the road. So we didn't see the car in front. All we saw was this big black trailer, looked just like ours. The trailer broke loose. As we were coming down off a bridge, he speeded up, and somehow the trailer drifted to the right and passed us on the driver's side, cut us off, and made it all the way to the shoulder and just came to a complete stop. And as we're passing it, the person driving was screaming out the window, like, dude, you just cut me off. And as we got to the front of the trailer, realized there was no car attached to this little toy hauler, and realized it was ours. Thank God it was 3 in the morning and there was nobody else on the road. That would have caused a huge pileup. And I said, never again. Never again. You guys want to drive that? You fine. I'm not driving, pulling nothing ever again. And I didn't put nothing on the back of this. Yeah. Yeah, I'm thin. I have 7 kinds of cancer. And yes, I eat fine. You missed that part. But yeah. Well, this is big enough just to be big enough. Yeah, I do. A bunch of different kinds. Yeah, we never had so many. So, yeah. So how was everybody else's week? I've had enough of this for the last 2 weeks. I woke up and I was broken. They took my check. Then I went to the doctor and found out some really bad crap. And I got hit again on round 2. Twice twice in 1 week. This is the first time in 10 years that I've gotten 2 cancer diagnoses within days of each other. I was expecting one, but got sidelined with number 2. I really didn't think the spot, I thought maybe they were wrong about the spot on my bone. I was hoping they were. No, I don't. I never heard of that guy. I can't even pronounce that name. And I'm not gonna even try. But, yeah. I'll check that out. Thank you very much. Yeah, I found a whole bunch of other firemen and cops and different guys. There's a bunch of construction guys who were working on the cleanup part once we were finishing. Came in on the last year of 9/11 once we got everything sorted out, and then the cleanup and the reconstruction and the digging of the projects. I was able to be in on all of it, all the meetings, all the stuff. I was there with the 3 designers who came in with we had 3 architects come in with designs on the new towers. We were supposed to get 2. There was always going to be 2. And somehow in the middle of the night it became the 1. And that's not the finger everyone was using to describe it. We got hoodwinked on that one a little bit, but I actually got to see the very early designs. And it was interesting working, but I found a lot of videos I didn't know like existed, people doing channels like this. There was one poor kid, his father was in school. He worked at the trade towers for one of the companies. And he was 7 years old. And he's got a channel all these years, say, since he probably started the channel when he was about 18. So, yeah, him and his sisters are on there about how it affected their whole life, had changed the day their dad died, and I've found a lot of them. There's a couple of really funny EMT and fireman guys who have channels, first responders and stuff. I didn't realize how many there really were on here. There's a lot. There's over 200,000 channels of just first responder, firemen and cops and stuff, telling you funny stories about different calls they get. And, I work with both the ambulance and the fire and the cops together, so I would go on every call with them. And funny, crazy stuff happens. A lot of drunken accidents, Christmas time, 4th of July calls and stuff like that. So they got some pretty funny stories. Hopefully they keep their names out of those stories. But I always wondered if we were really allowed to talk about that stuff. I guess as long as you don't give out the person's name, you can talk about someone's most embarrassing moment of their life. That turned out really funny, but I know poor Kim's got heat on. She's freezing. I had to bust out 2 blankets in Florida. It got chilly the other night, and don't laugh. I'm starting to realize that I had never come on here until uh, 2021. I was like, yeah, YouTube. I'd had it up to here with Facebook. I didn't even want to know about YouTube. So I only just started watching YouTube in like 2021, but really in 22. The first big thing that I watched nonstop were uh, up in Canada with everybody protesting, hanging out for a year up in the streets. I thought that was great. I couldn't stop watching. I got bored a couple years ago and I put that back on and rewatched it from the beginning again. I missed a lot. But yeah, I never even understood about any of this. I know we used to Google a lot of videos on how to fix stuff on here. Richard used to look up stuff all the time. When he first got the job as maintenance, he didn't really know how to fix everything. So he would be in the hotel rooms calling me on the phone. He said, "Do me a favor, go on that YouTube thing." And he would tell me what he's trying to fix, the bathroom, the plumbing, whatever it is. And he said, "Look up how to do this for me and then call me back when you find a video." I'm like, okay. So I would find it on the computer, take a picture of the channel, and then I would text him the video, and then he'd go back and look it up and sit there with his phone on the floor underneath the sink fixing stuff with the guy on the video. So about 6 months into that, his boss is like, "Wow, you're great. You can fix anything." He said, "Yeah, well, I just put my mind to it, and I'm smart. I can figure it out. I'm good at problem solving, especially on new stuff." And I'm like, "You freaking liar. You're freaking laying there with the door closed, hoping none of the other maintenance guys come in. You're watching YouTube videos, fixing shit in the hotel." Oh, but it got him a raise. Every time somebody got stuck, they would call him. He said, "I'll call you back in 2 minutes." Okay, he quick come on YouTube, look up a video for some other guy at the maintenance, not tell him. He's like, "Okay, listen, sorry, I had people at the door." He would lie and pretend he was talking with someone and he had to call him back. No, he was looking up the video, so no one knew he was looking up these videos on YouTube and telling people how to fix stuff. But yeah, it got him a raise. It got him a good raise. It was like YouTube saved my ass. I got a raise and I got to keep my job and I'm looking at a promotion. Thanks, YouTube. Yeah. So it does come in handy. Yeah, it's a bit much. Most of I went into this kicking and screaming. And I was just strictly leaving it for the 9/11 stuff. I wasn't going to put all this out there about the van life thing until me and 350 other people in a 4-hour period, got kicked out of their houses in one day. One day. And I said, you know what? You want to know what this is like? I'll show you what this is like. This ain't like those pretty videos you're watching. Those people are lying. Liar, liar, pants on fires. So I documented getting kicked out of my house. There's a video on here. Other day I got thrown out of my house. I'm sitting there crying in the gas station with all my crap filled in the back of this car. I slept in the front driver's seat for 2 weeks. The first 2 weeks I slept in the driver's seat with my cat on my lap. Because this whole van was filled from the ceiling to the floor with everything I could cram in. I had 6 hours, which I stretched into, I think it was 10 hours. And that was it. I just threw everything and turned the camera on and drove away. I said, you guys think this is fun? Duh. It's cheap. It is not. This is not. Oh, yeah. I make sure if I put something on, I'm watching a video, I'm doing something. So when the commercials come on, I go do something else, like the good old days. And I just leave it running. Yeah. Well, what they did was they changed the law that they can't throw you off your property until you find a place to stay now. We missed that. The year I had to leave was 22, and it wasn't kicking in until 2023. You mean to explain to me that you couldn't, Mr. DeSantis, governor of Florida, you signed a paper in 2022 and you let them for 3 months kick people out of their house, off their property, and 9 months later, for the next hurricane season, people were allowed to stay. You kicked me out in April, and in September, people were allowed to stay. Tell me what the difference was. There wasn't. So when Hurricane Ian and Nicole hit Florida back to back, all those people got kicked out. The people with Milton and Helen that happened, well, now 2 years ago almost, or this year makes it 2 years, all those people got to stay on their property. It's like, dude, you know, about 8,000 people were homeless on the east coast of Florida and no one knew because it hit on the other side. The only people who made the news was the west coast of Florida. 8,000 people homeless on the east coast because where it came in on the west coast went directly across the state of Florida and exited on the east coast. Duh. They never covered any of the damage. None of the homeless. Nothing. They did nothing. We got no money, no FEMA, no $2,000, nothing. Get your shit and get out. Bye-bye. That's it. Take what you can carry and go. You weren't even allowed to come back and make a second trip and pick stuff up. One time only. You know how many trips at 3 in the morning I made to my property? I had to rob my own stuff 5 times. When I had to drive an hour and a half from where I was staying at the time, down southern Florida, to drive 2 hours all the way up here once a week for like 3 weeks and time it so I was here by 3 a.m. so I could be in and out of my house, my shed, and my screen room without waking up my stupid HOA idiot committee neighbors in my trailer park who would have called the cops on me coming to get my own stuff. Yeah. And that was the whole thing. That was the whole thing, let me tell you. No money, $20. It was like I had 6 days before I got paid, and I told the guy, dude, I have a quarter tank of gas, $10 in my pocket. I don't get paid till uh, say Friday, and it was Saturday. I had a whole week to go with no money, no gas in the car, no money, and they refused to let me stay 6 more days. If I promised not to, I was even going to let them barricade the door. Okay, you put a 2x4, screw it in so I can't get in the house, that's fine. But at least let me stay on the property so I have electricity and water until I get paid next week. I got a shower, I got a bathroom, I got everything. I don't need to go back into the house. And it wasn't that it was falling, some was, but the structure of the house was still intact. It was the interior walls, but it wasn't the ceiling about to come down onto me. So it was just strictly mold. And then we got a bunch of mice and possums and then a million animals. The floor fell out, and I had about 3,000 gray mice about that big. Those things multiplied over the course of 16 months before anyone showed up to look at our houses. They didn't come for 18 months after, before they kicked us out. And they probably saw someone complaining on the news and came over. They said, oh yeah, we forgot to throw those people out. Quick, let's go. But they finally changed that law. And as of this year, you can stay on your property the entire time while you're making repairs, because no one has $200 a day to spend on a hotel room for approximately 9 to 14 months while you're fixing your house. How do you afford to fix your house when you're paying $200 a day to live in a hotel? I don't know. You tell me. So most of those laws got changed. I'm sure there's a loophole in there somewhere where they can still kick you off. I never read the fine print on it because I had to leave and I didn't care anymore. But yeah, he stopped the initial get off your property thing. You can stay on your property and fix your house while you're living there. And that's nuts. And yet, once they kick you off your property from living there out of the house, you still have to pay your property taxes. Yeah, good luck with that. And that was crazy. What are these idiots doing out here? I have no idea. I don't know, a lot of noise going on in the back. Sounds like a bunch of wheelbarrows probably taking out the trash. Yeah. But, yeah, that's what it's like to live in Florida. Nasty committees in the trailer parks, even those little closed communities. My dad lived in one of those. Oh my God. I kept waiting for my grandmother to tell me that my father went to jail for beating up the guy who's the head of the committee. I was worried my dad was going to snap one day and just beat the crap out of that guy. Which he would. Oh, we're going to get cut off again, peoples. Because we're hitting 2.5 hours. My battery's dying. Oh, yeah. Yeah, someone else got my house. We just took off. I said, you're kicking me off? Okay, bye. And I left. See ya. We have a law where you can abandon your property, especially you're paying taxes on it. What they do is you walk away, and once the taxes are late, they give you 90 days to respond, or they auction off the house and the property. Well, there was nothing left of the house. It had to be at least 80% gutted. It was a shame. So much work got put into that place. I was heartbroken. But it was interior wall issues that just, it destroyed the house. And the smell was never coming out. It is just, I don't even know what happened to it. I'm sure someone bought it and gutted it and then just rebuilt the insides again. I didn't have that kind of money. That was never going to be that kind of money. Not at $300 for one sheet of plywood. I would have had one big open room. That's it. A couple of walls to keep up the roof, but there would have been no bathroom. One bathroom, one shower, one sink. That's it. But I was living in the van before we get cut off, because I'm going to have to go in a minute. I was living in this van because the house was falling apart. I actually gutted out the van. I took all the seats out. And just a couple of months ago, I took out all the carpet finally uh, in the van, which was actually in decent shape, but I just ripped it out because I had a little bit of a bug problem. So we couldn't give them any place to live. So we finally fixed that. And I had also realized I can't, I can't afford evacuating at up to $300 a night. They triple our hotel rates here. And no, Florida residents don't get any kind of discount during hurricane season as a resident. Nope. No. 2 weeks before the storm comes, they raise the rates on the hotels right before hurricane season. And they go from $100 a night up to $300 a night for the same room. So there's no way you can afford to pay for that. And no guarantee that staying at the hotel will have electricity. Normally the electric goes right away. So you're paying $300 a night to stay in a hotel with no electric and running water during a hurricane. Have fun. So I took the seats out of the van. I said, I need to make a hotel room, evacuation van. I said, we do this all the time in the summer. Camp out. I've been camping out like this. My parents had a van. And my dad did a lot of racing, amateur racing, motocross, race cars, stuff like that. He was a Marine. You don't know any of that, some of the new people. So I've been hanging out in vans my whole life, following my dad around the race circuit. You're there 3 weeks just qualifying for the race at the end of the month. So you live there at the racetrack for a month before a race. So I said, I'm going to do that. Okay. Next thing you know, the hurricane came, the two of them, and just hammered the house. And the third one came, was a 4-day tropical storm with 180-mile-an-hour wind that just shook that place loose. And that was it. That was it. There was no going back. But yeah, this wasn't even for like a van life thing. I started this van just as a way to not have to pay $300 a night for a hotel. I can go park in the parking lot of an evacuation shelter. Even though they're full, you can still hang out in the parking lot. A lot of RVs and, people visiting do that. So I said, okay, I'll do it in the minivan. So let me get going because this battery is going to die any second. We got cut off last time. So, oh, thank you, everybody. So, Yeah, I know. It doesn't seem that long, right? It's almost 3 hours now. That's why I just got the blinky thing came on. I was like, it's overheating, and I said, oh no, it's almost 3 hours. That's all I get is 2.5 hours on the live stream. So I will see you in a couple more days. Um, and we'll see what happens. Fingers crossed we get paid in 2 weeks and I get my disability check because my head's going to explode soon. So we'll talk about that later. I don't want to get yelled at again. So fingers crossed in 2 weeks we get paid again. Would be nice. But at least they kept my health insurance going. And, I can be pissed off they took my check, but they left me the health insurance, and that was important, especially right now. You know, imagine I wouldn't have had health insurance, I wouldn't have known what's going on with the bone cancer, and I wouldn't have had my 100% on the, colon cancer now. We found a bunch of masses and tumors and things, lesions, so that's what's been going on like all this week. Um, so yeah. So I had a good time. Thank you, everybody. And hot rods going by. I will talk to you in a day or two. And now more because I finally got the solar panel replaced. Thank you, everybody who put into the GoFundMe. I think it's still open. I didn't reach the limit, so I'm not sure if that is ongoing until I reach my limit. It was only eight. I think it was $600 or $800 um, for putting gas in the car. You know, you can get free food anywhere now. Every church, there's a million churches down here, so food wasn't the issue. It's gas. You can't, you can't get free gas at a food pantry, and no one's handing out like there ain't no gift cards and crap like that. And if they are, they're for Walmart for more food. So it's like I don't need food. I need money for gas. So I'm trying to think if there was anything else. I think that was it. But yeah, we're blinking again. I'm turning yellow. It's about to go to red, which is going to cut us off. Okay, it's like an upside down traffic light. It's green while I'm good for streaming, then it goes to yellow, and you got about like 10 minutes before yellow turns to red and the whole thing shuts off. So before we get cut off, I'll see you guys in a couple of days, and more often now because now I can charge up again. So thank you, everybody, for coming, and all the new guys. Hey. And hey, from our friends from across UK. That's my little viewers from my little line from from UK. Thanks, everybody, for coming back. Have a good night. Have a good weekend. And I will talk to you guys on probably Monday. Okay? I'll see you later. Good night, everybody, and thanks for coming. And thanks for the newbie, guys. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I appreciate it very, very much. Good night, everybody. Have a good night and a good weekend. Happy Sunday.